Welcome back to the F124 driver career. I have very much heard you in the comments. Unfortunately, I've recorded a little bit further ahead since you left that overwhelming feedback. So after the DNF in Austria, you were very vocal about, really, we should turn these faults off, shouldn't we, Ches? And because it was starting to affect your enjoyment of the content. And then we got a P4 in Silverstone, and we were thrilled. You haven't seen, as I record this, Hungary yet, but the consensus of everything that was said at Austria is just going to be confounded by what happened in Hungary. So, as per your specific preference for feedback for the content, we will turn. I'm not sure whereabouts it will be actually. Which setting? Rules and flags, career settings, maybe. We will turn fault frequency off. Faults will be disabled moving forward for the rest of this season. Once we move from Ferrari, we'll turn it back on again, and hopefully it's not something we encounter again. It's been a very interesting season in that regard, very difficult season in that regard here with Ferrari, and hopefully it's not something we'll encounter in latter seasons elsewhere, especially when we start the My Team career mode for sure. But we will crack on with Belgium today. We, of course, got a fantastic result at Silverstone. Hungary was really not anywhere near as competitive as we would like to be, but Spa should be more like Silverstone in terms of our competitiveness. We could absolutely be much higher in the drivers' standings and significantly higher in the constructors as well. If it weren't for the DNFs, if it weren't for the component failures, we'd be second in the constructors and I'd be at least ninth in the drivers. So there's no doubt about that whatsoever. That's 5 DNFs in 13 races. So no more DNFs, at least for mechanical issues anyway, for the rest of the season. So we shall jump into a very sunny Spa, be very thankful for that, add to our resource points and hopefully get ourselves a very, very, very decent finish from there. Do drop the video a like if you're enjoying the career mode. I'd very much appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and you won't miss out on any more. Come and join me on stream and you can see every lap of every session that we do. And it'd be great to see you over there as well. But without any further ado, I'm going to hop into practice, earn myself as many resource points as possible and continue to upgrade the car. Resource points have been earned. The car is supposedly pretty good around Spa. Well, I mean, we expected it to be good around Spa. Tyre wear is apparently 13% better than expected. So that could very much work in our favour with regards race strategy. Pace-wise, we're strong in the first sector. We're strong in the third sector. We are not great in the middle. We're definitely set up for straight line speed, but I think that's the best way to go around Spa, quite frankly. And the car feels perfectly good enough in the middle sector. It just wasn't necessarily showing it with regards lap time, but we're going to put much fresher components in here. In fact, I'm going to put brand new components in some regards so that we can get as much as physically possible out of this particular race weekend. The car feels good. I feel like it's a track that I know well enough that I can do well at. So expect qualifying of 11th or 12th. We've come well adjusted to that right now. But the race I'm hoping will be very much Silverstone-esque. Again, it's not been a great lap. There is definitely time left on the table from that lap, but it's enough for a P8. I think that popped me in at the end of Q1. Indeed it does, P8. So we're comfortably through to Q2. Whether we can comfortably or even sneakily make it into Q3, we shall wait and see, but 42.3 is apparently 9/10 off Charles. I don't have that much time in the bag, that's for sure, but we're competitive enough for the top handful anyway. Christ. Charles decided he wants to be light years ahead of everybody else, apparently. Get the corners done, then look at the delta. I was looking at the delta halfway through that section. It doesn't help, does it?
And we've dropped to P12.
P12 in qualifying, that seems familiar, that's wide. We are up on our fresh set. Are we up enough on our fresh set to get us into Q3? Oh yes we are. P3 in Q2 for the first time in 10 rounds of the championship. We haven't been in Q3 since Australia in the third round of the championship. We are very much in the hunt for pole here at Spa, apparently. Told you Spa would be good for the car. Bring on Q3. Like mid-corner, look at the delta before I've actually exited the turn. Just get so distracted by it in the corner. I should probably turn it off, really. The driver in real life would know what their lap time is. And the final part of the bus stop chicane, shortest run to the line. We're going to put in a time that is fast enough for 8th. Oh. I was hoping, after that Q2 performance, that we'd be slightly higher than 8th.
We're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights
8th.
Out tomorrow.
Okay. Well, it's better than we've been in the last 10 qualifying sessions, so we will take it. But I definitely could have gotten myself slightly higher, I feel. On strategy, with tyre wear in our favour, fuel usage potentially in our favour as well, there's definitely some moves to be made from there and time that we can get back in our favour on strategy. I did, in the intro, turn all failures off for me, the user. However, live chat has requested, and I think I agree as well, that we will actually turn non-race ending failures on. So we'll turn them up to standard, but fault types will be standard. So technical faults will be enabled, i.e. my DRS could fail, my ERS could have issues, my battery, but mechanical failures that end my race will be off. So we will still have some faults that occur, but they just won't be race-ending ones, so the content will still have an element of realism to it in that regard, but obviously we will still complete every single Grand Prix for the rest of the calendar. So it's a good middle ground, and thank you, Adstar in chat, for making that suggestion. I think it's the right one. So then, well, we actually know what the grid's going to look like, unless there are any penalties, but what's the strategy going to look like? So are there any penalties where we'll be starting slightly higher than P8? It appears that Charles Leclerc is probably going to race away with this, although Fernando Alonso was very close to him with his qualifying time, less than 200ths, but P5, 4 tenths down. I am 8th. I was 6 tenths down, but we're certainly more competitive at Spa than we have been at a lot of other circuits recently. This is going to be Silverstone-esque, certainly. No penalties for anyone. Now then, the question is, what strategy? Are we starting on mediums, or are we starting on softs? There's a mixture. I would be happy to start on the medium tyre, although Although, I think starting on a worn set of softs, I actually reckons medium hard. I reckon softs to mediums is probably the way for me. And I'll pit off those softs on like lap 18 or 17. Our personalised tyre wear is significantly better. And we're definitely not going to need 4 laps worth of extra fuel as well. So I'll put in 3 laps worth of extra fuel, and even that's probably a little bit overkill. We're going to go soft medium rather than medium hard. So we'll be just quicker throughout all aspects of the race than the alternate strategy. And with our good tyre wear here, right, we are aiming for a very strong finish here, I hope. A very strong finish. Right, starting on the outside, which is probably beneficial this far back.
Decent parking.
But there's such a short run to the first corner that
keep an eye on the lights, the start sequence.
not sure how much we'll actually be able to make into turn 1, if anything at all. Stroll was slightly poor off the start. We should hopefully be able to get him. And we have done exactly that. So we're up to P7 now. We've got to try and utilise these soft tyres as best as we can. Not under any pressure through Eau Rouge and then over the top of Radyon either. So that's great. We can just concentrate on what's in front. And what's in front is a very quick set of other cars, actually. So up to P7 off the start. We have confidence that we can make more positions too. We are genuinely aiming for a podium finish today. Whether we get it or not is obviously entirely different, but we are aiming for a podium finish. We've had a P2 in China. We've had a P4 at Silverstone. Oof. Okay, nice to know that we can carry speed that they can't through Puon. We've got to get past these medium runners as soon as possible, otherwise Charles Leclerc is going to disappear up front. Any chance of a potential win will disappear. I have a funny feeling they run slightly higher wings than me, although I'm not sure. Definitely got a run on
Right, let's focus now.
Carlos Sainz here, although we closed the door rather abruptly. Tyres are slightly worn, obviously, after qualifying, because we don't have a brand new set of soft tyres to use. Down the outside of Carlos Sainz. Now to be up the inside of Carlos Sainz for turn 1 again. DRS enabled, and we will be within 1 second of Oscar Piastri. We will have DRS, and the moves forward continue. That's P6 now. What are the others on? Is it any medium runners? Charles and Fernando are the other 2 medium runners in front of us. The rest are on the same soft tyre compound that we are. We're aiming to pit probably on lap 17. Nearly opened a full second gap behind now, although Sainz will have DRS here. So not yet. The whole field is up together at the moment. And will probably continue to be so for a little while. Both Mercedes behind. And it's those medium runners in front we want to try and get past. But because Charles is on the medium, he's going to be not able at the moment to run away out in front. He's got Lando Norris right behind him. I'm sitting pretty at the minute in P6. Comfortable with those in front, knowing we're going to undercut everybody in front of us, or at least are planning to undercut everyone in front of us unless someone also takes an early pit stop. We're very, very comfortable in this particular moment in time. That's the podium sat right there in front of us with Fernando Alonso as well, so we've absolutely no concerns about anything other than me concentrating properly and not making mistakes at this stage. Still looking good for a podium finish. Piastri's having a look at Verstappen. Piastri's not having a look at Verstappen. He thought about it. at Little Butchers and decided, you know what, nah. Sainz has just opened up a gap of over a second to his teammate behind him. So Magnussen might just be out of DRS range. Ooh, stop car. As we head down the hill here, although my going deep might have allowed K-Mag back in, and it has. That's frustrating. That's my fault. Like I say, we're happy to sit here, but if we can make another position or two, then it's probably the thing we should look to try and do. Very comfortable straight line speed here. Very comfortable indeed, not using any battery there, and still very comfortably able to easily sit in front of Carlos Sainz, although obviously he's on the medium tyre and we're on the soft, which will play a part in that. Just trying to make the tyres last as long as possible and not take too much out of them, so that if an opportunity does arise in front, we have the tyre life to be able to A, do it, and B, make it stick and stay in front. Still concentrating very hard. The front two are starting to build a bit of a gap, so getting past Fernando might end up becoming race critical. At the moment it's manageable, but we don't want them to get too far down the road, otherwise they will just disappear, and the only podium spot we'll be looking at will be a P3, not a 1 or 2. Got a little bit of a run on Piastri here. It's only a little bit of a run, but it's a run I'm going to try and utilise. Use all my battery, or at least a lot of it. Up the inside of Piastri. Hold it, hold it, hold it. That's P5. Right, now we'll spend the rest of the lap just trying to build the battery back up.
Nice overtake.
We're in the top 5 with Verstappen in front, who's definitely overtakeable as well at this stage. That Red Bull car is actually really not that strong at all in the performance index. And then Fernando Alonso on mediums will have his tyres start to become the better compound in the not too distant future, because as you saw there, our tyre wear is getting on a little bit with a heavy fuel load, and they started slightly worn as well, of course, from qualifying. Still hoping to make more forward movements before the pit stop. And battery is back up now as well, as Marcus has quite accurately pointed out to us. Good. I'm very confident of a podium at the moment. Max does not have DRS. He's 1.2 seconds behind Fernando. I'm not going to use all my battery here. I'm going to save some of it for later in the lap. We're not going to be close enough to make an overtake, but we are going to be close enough to be right with him. And Max is now very vulnerable in P4. Don't want to let Fernando get too far away. So if I can squeak my way past Max this lap and try and close that gap to Fernando, I will look to do so. But maybe the best way to close that gap to Fernando is to just stick close to Max here and then use the DRS all the way down the Kemmel straight next lap to then try and close the gap, using battery for the rest of next lap to try and stick with Fernando Alonso and maybe get myself back in DRS range of him myself. So nearly a 2-second gap to Fernando now, who's really pushing home that advantage on those medium tyres. We need to make sure that Fernando stays within range of us, otherwise it will be no higher than P4 before the pit stop. Right, this is going to be Max comfortably dealt with. Now the question is,
we're seeing a lot of tyre wear at the moment. Please try and look after them.
that's a new objective I've not seen before. Can we, now with some battery usage, close the gap on Fernando Alonso? Our rears are very nearly at 25%, which is going to be... Well, actually, that was last year's time, wasn't it? This year, they do degrade very more gradually and on a much more accurate gradient, rather than having a first cliff and a second cliff. I don't know as going to be able to keep up with Fernando, but we'll use quite a bit of battery to try and do so, and maybe we'll be able to get ourselves within DRS range of him. At the very least, we should hopefully close in on Lando if we can, although he's being dragged along by my teammate Charles Leclerc with his medium tyres at this stage. So P3 is very much a possibility here, But whether anything more than P3 is there for us to take today, I don't know. Our softs are no longer competitive compared to the mediums, as you'll be able to see. Carlos Sainz starting to take Max Verstappen behind. The gap to Fernando Alonso is growing, and those that were behind us on the medium tyre are starting to come back through, which includes both Haas cars. So, time to get elbows out defensively. Maybe get dragged along by Carlos Sainz if that's a possibility, to try and maintain the gaps in front. Charles Leclerc has lost Lando Norris, dropped him, so Lando will not have DRS now, and hopefully Lando will be catchable, but Lando will be very fast in that McLaren regardless, so he might not be. We'll wait and see, but hopefully the undercut on lap 17 will, fingers crossed, earn us a decent amount of time on everyone, and I'm hoping hoping it will earn us enough time to get ahead of Fernando Alonso, even though that gap is growing, because he won't be pitting for about another 8 or 9 laps after we box for his first stop, or only stop. So we should be able to turn the deficits of Fernando back around with our fresh tyres. I'm now the head of a train.
The car in front is a second a lap faster. 1
Yes.
second.
A train that almost certainly won't have me at the front of it for much longer. Carlos Sainz is going to come through. Dirty. Right, Sainz is going to have me here then. That's fine. If you could not damage me on the way past, Carlos, that'd be great. Quite happy to tuck behind Carlos Sainz. Not a problem. We must have been side by side over the detection point, because neither he nor I have DRS there. .7 to Fernando now, which isn't great. And now we're hoping to just get dragged along, and if we can drop the other soft runners behind, then that would be ideal, but I don't know as that's going to happen. Oh, rear tyres are complaining now. They're wobbling all over the place. Carlos Sainz is gone. I can't get the power down consistently enough to be able to stick with him at the minute. Too many oversteer moments. Now it's about damage limitation for the rest of the stint. Another 4 laps until we box, so the tyres are going to be very worn by the end of it. But I think the sooner we box, the better. Definitely thinking 17 and not extending to 18 or to the currently projected 19. Magnussen's just taken Verstappen behind. More medium runners starting to work their way through. I think K-Mag might have been the last of the medium runners. Everybody behind us on the grid, I think. Pretty sure everybody behind us on the grid was on softs. Stroll is on mediums, although, yeah, he wasn't in front of me on the grid. He's started P7. He's just currently running P9. So, and Lance isn't really coming through at the minute at the same rate as the Haas drivers. K-Mag will probably catch us and pass us before the pit stop. It's just a case of how early they stop off those mediums. Hopefully as late as possible, which will allow us as much time as possible to gain the delta back again. But Lando Norris is currently favourite for the win, being dragged along by Charles Leclerc for a large chunk of this race. And he'll be boxing from his softs onto mediums. Currently, I would say it would go Lando, Charles, me at the end is my prediction. Norris, Leclerc, Wood. Fernando's actually right with Lando Norris now. So Lando in P2 is actually only about 7.5 seconds down the road. Fernando Alonso will probably take second place this lap. Just going to get that tyre wear done. 39.55 is what we had, as opposed to 39.9. Kevin's actually going for the position here, which is fine by me because we'll now have DRS down the Kemmel Straight. Thanks, Kevin. If ever there was a time I wanted you to overtake, knowing that it was certainly going to happen, there would have been it. Because now I should be able to go and get that position back again. He says. Like that. Ta very much, lad. Toodaloo. I say toodaloo. He's now still going to be stuck to my gearbox for the rest of the lap. But at least we got P4 back. Sorry, P5 back again. Did actually cost us a bit of time to Lando. Close to half a second, I think, actually. So maybe it wasn't the right idea to try and get past. But I think for our own race, it's the right thing to do. So we're going to be in now for mediums. The default strategy was lap 19. We feel like our tyre wear is good enough that we can stop on lap 17 and still have the better tyre at the end of the race, or at least as good a tyre at the end of the race as the others that are stopping slightly later. Need a good pit stop though, please, gents.
There seems to have been a bit of a problem removing the left
which
front
we
wheel.
haven't gotten.
Let's try and put that behind us though and finish the race strong.
I swear, almost every undercut I try is ruined by a dead pit stop.
That was our last stop.
Thank you,
No more
gents.
scheduled
You
pit
cost me
stops.
2
Let's go.
seconds of race time there. There goes Théo Pourchaire. But thankfully, there's the DRS detection point, so we will very quickly be through Théo Pourchaire. And then there's actually a decent amount of free air up to Daniel Ricciardo that we can try and utilise to make the most of this brand new fresh set of tyres. Teo, do not fight it, mate. It's going to happen. Thank you, pal. Right. Oh, I can't believe the team have killed me off there. It is what it is. Now I've really got to drive like the wind to make the most of this undercut. I can't believe another dead pit stop. 4.9 seconds is just so bad. Verstappen's in the box. Verstappen made the change a lap sooner than expected.
Car in front, 15.0 seconds.
So Max is trying an undercut as well. It's not worked for him on me. He's just over a second behind as well, thankfully, so no DRS for Max Verstappen down the straight. That's crucial. Now hopefully we'll have the pace to just extend on Max, and he won't be a threat for the rest of the race. Is Lando in? Looks like Lando's in. McLaren's in the box, as expected on lap 19. The gap was 9.5 as we entered the pits, but with a really slow pit stop, it's going to be more like 11.5, maybe even closer to 12 seconds to Lando. So my hopeful undercut that was already pretty hopeful only, basically ruined by... well, not ruined, but finished off by the dead pit stop. Fastest lap of the race for me. Closing right up on Daniel Ricciardo now, ensuring that we're out of DRS range still of Max Verstappen. I need to make my way through the traffic as quickly as possible, but Lando's long gone. Any hope we had for P2, I think has disappeared. It will be P3 at best, although Lando does have some traffic, but he should see that traffic off relatively quickly. I also will be struggling with some traffic in the not too distant future. It's only the one car at the minute, but there is a lot more further down the road. And already I'm struggling with it. Daniel's going to leave me some space, just enough for a car's width to get through. Thank you, Daniel. And just able to maintain the 1 second gap to Max as well. Daniel, please hold up Max Verstappen as much as possible. Thank you. Lots more soft runners in the box now. We'll be running directly behind Lando Norris
2.9 seconds.
as we round this turn. So 7.5 basically to Lando. It could have been about 5.5 if it weren't for the slow pit stop. So we have gained about 4 seconds thanks to our undercut. But it's just not going to be enough to finish ahead of Lando. Now we're just praying that we're in a position where we can guarantee that P3 and a podium finish in what would actually be a double podium finish for Ferrari, of course, with Charles Leclerc the likely winner of this Grand Prix. Although Lando is in a decent position at the minute to try and win it for himself.
Okay, so all of our
Tyre pressure data's gone. The thing that's intriguing to me now
They still look inflated to you. We're gonna
is
guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything
how the
worry
gap
about.
to Lance Stroll comes down for those that are going even longer on the mediums. Oh, Charles in the pits now.
In the pits.
That's early. They must be going to the hard tyre then. They're not going to try and take softs 24 laps, surely. If they're going medium hard, Esteban Ocon's gone soft hard. They're going medium hard. Could that work in our favour with our tyre wear? The hard tyre is about 1.5 seconds slower than the soft, about 9/10 slower than the medium, and our tyre wear is 13% better than expected. Oh, it depends what they go to. If he goes to a hard tyre, we might be able to get Charles Leclerc. We also might not, because Charles Leclerc's bloody quick. It doesn't matter what tyre he's on. Lando now takes my fastest lap. Those other guys are coming out the pits, and they are on the hard tyre.
The gap that we're trading the car ahead by 15.4 seconds.
So Sainz is out on the hards. Charles is out on the hards. We've actually undercut Carlos Sainz. Alonso's out on the hards and is right with Lando. Now then, are our medium tyres going to last long enough to take advantage of the better compound?
The car behind you
I hope
is
so.
coming for the hard tyres.
P6 at the minute.
Hard tyres.
Everyone other than Kevin Magnussen has now boxed. So we're running a net P5. And trying to move ourselves forward into a... Oh no, Lance Stroll hasn't boxed. So we're in a net P4. And we're trying to move ourselves forward into a podium position. It's Stroll in the box now as Lando sets another fastest lap of the race. And Magnussen in too. So that'll be us into that P4. I now take the fastest lap of the race.
Well done.
Hopefully, Lando and Nando have a bit of a scrapperoo. Although there's a full second between them. Fernando is going to have to try and cling on to the back of Lando Norris with DRS. I don't think he's going to be able to do that for long. Well, this is our race then, to the end. Another 20 laps to go. Can we hunt down Fernando Alonso or Charles Leclerc? Yellow flag behind. It's a Williams retiring. Something's gone pop on his car. But it's not going to bring out any sort of safety car or VSC. If we do have a safety car and we elect to go for an extra pit stop, I do have a fresh set of medium tyres I can go to. Not taking as much out of Alonso that lap. Gap has closed by less than it did on the previous. I don't know whether it's because I didn't use as much ERS or what. That lap was 6 tenths slower than my previous, which was the fastest lap of the race of a 1:44.4. 2.2 seconds to Fernando. We might just be at the point where the hards are starting to become more competitive against these now all over 10% worn medium tyres.
And gap to the car in front.
Which isn't ideal,
2.1 seconds.
considering we haven't quite gotten to Fernando yet. We didn't quite get to Fernando in the last stint either, but the gap is hopefully still closing, just not maybe by as much.
Caution, caution.
Oh, yellow flag in front. Is it my teammate or is it Lando? No, Charles spun around. Charles Leclerc has had a moment. He's facing the wrong way at the bus stop. That is how you throw away the win of a Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc. That is not very good at all. Well, we will get on the podium and we will finish ahead of our teammate. We're fighting for a P2 now. It's like, no! But kind of like, yay, actually, for us. He's been disqualified! I'm so distracted by that, I didn't even take the corner properly. Charles Leclerc's been disqualified for facing the wrong way or driving the wrong way. So he's obviously tried to get himself back onto the circuit. But by doing so, has ended up pointing the wrong way a little bit. Reversed. Still waiting to rejoin. This is very much a game thing, not a real life thing. And has been disqualified for reversing. Well done, game. That's not Charles's fault. That's the game. That sucks, doesn't it? Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Hello, me. There's me. And we're off again. DRS on Fernando Alonso. Albeit, he's probably going to get out of DRS. I broke too late for that. Oh, stop car, please. Thank you. Probably going to be out of DRS for this part, maybe. If I can... No, he's out of DRS. Oh, with battery, can we get it back? We might just have done... Are we within DRS range of Fernando Alonso for the Kemmel Straight? Yes, we are! Bring me P2! Dare I say it, Lando's only 4.5 seconds down the road. Let's not get carried away yet, shall we? Alonso has been officially caught. And very soon, Alonso will be officially passed. I.e. now.
Okay.
Onto the grass to get past, but past we are.
There's a long way to go in this race, so let's keep it clean.
There is still a long way to go in this race. 12 laps, in fact. Gap to Lando 3.7. But I am not going to drop Fernando. He's going to be right with me for the rest of this race. So I need to concentrate, evidently. Utilise my battery as best as I can. Try and close on Lando. Whilst at the same time, not losing any time battling Fernando. Easier said than done. A safety car right now would be lovely, though. We are not fast enough to catch Lando Norris. And I will run out of fuel before the end of the race if I don't save any. So what I'm going to have to do is let Fernando past. Try and stay in his DRS. Save some fuel. And then go for P2 again later in the Grand Prix.
Try to stay with them.
I need to save some fuel.
Still regain the position.
We took some out at the beginning of the race because in the practice program it told us we didn't need anywhere near as much as it was going to give us, and it is going to prove that we didn't need as much as it originally gave us, but I haven't given myself enough to make it to the end of the race. I took out too much pre-race. And as a result, we're going to have to save some fuel, try and manage the situation, and fingers crossed, finish in P2. Either Lando's made a mistake, or Lando has an issue, because that gap is coming down again. It's now under 3. Still saving fuel at this stage, and we'll be doing so for the next 2 laps. I will save fuel until the end of the Kemmel Straight on lap 42. Then for the rest of 42, all of 43 and 44, I will push. I wonder whether Lando's tyres are going. We know that our tyre wear is significantly better. Just at other tracks it's been significantly worse. I wonder whether Lando might just be under threat at the end of this race, and maybe there might be a win for myself or Fernando Alonso available, maybe even as late as the last lap. About to end lap 40, and start lap 41. I still need to save fuel. Can't push yet, but Lando's getting closer to us. Fernando is really helping my race. He's actually helping me potentially win it. We'll wait and see what happens It's going to be a tense end at the end of this Belgian Grand Prix. Lando definitely doesn't have a problem because he's maintaining the gap in the right areas. He's just got worn tyres. But who doesn't at this stage of a race at Spa have worn tyres? Two laps to go. If I can, I'm going to try and take Fernando.
Car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop.
Oh, I know that much, mate. I'll try and take Fernando this lap at the end of the Kemmel Straight if I can, but I might be slightly too far back. I'll have to use a lot of battery to do so.
By 5/10 a lap.
Gap's going to be about half a second. As we start the Kemmel Straight, I've used all my battery. Bit more. I'm going for it. Fernando, you can go as defensive as you like, mate. I am having P2, thank you. 1.7 seconds to Lando Norris in first place. Now make that 2. So we're compromised through the chicane section. Blanchimont. We'll do what we can. At the very least, we want to hold on to this position. Not even sure about being able to do that at this moment in time. I think the lead might be too much for us, but certainly P2 is evidently attainable and hopefully maintainable too. So as we start the final lap, gap to Lando 2 seconds, gap to Fernando behind less than half a second.
Final lap.
We will get an extra point for fastest lap unless anyone nails it off me on this final circuit of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. I'm going to be at risk to Fernando by the end of the straight, I think. I'm going to try my best to use as much battery as I can. Fuel is fine. Straight line speed is not. Fernando's going to go for it on the inside into the chicane. I'm going to have to brake deep, brake hard, maintain the place, and as a result, Lando breathes a massive sigh of relief. That is Lando Norris definitively, as if he wasn't previously, winning this Belgian Grand Prix. I now need to save battery for the rest of the lap to defend into the bus stop chicane, to ensure that we finish ahead of Fernando Alonso and get our second P2 of our time here at Ferrari. Last time it was P2 behind our teammate. This time it's going to be P2 thanks to our teammate because he got himself bloody disqualified. Right, concentrate on exit, bit of battery, concentrate on the turn. Now all the rest of the battery. Fuel is going to be on the limit but safe. Might as well use literally all the battery. We might just be able to finish within 2.5 seconds of Lando Norris. We're definitely going to finish in front of Fernando Alonso as the checkered flag comes out. It's Lando, the half Belgian man, that wins in Belgium. And it's me, the 100% Englishman, that finishes in second. We thought Spa was going to be strong for us. Spa was strong for us. Driver of the day. We started 8th. We got to Q3 for the first time in 10 races, and we made it work for us. Congratulations, Lando, on the victory. We'll take 19 points unless anyone took the fastest lap off me right at the very end, which they didn't.
Weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join.
That's huge. That's massive, and a well-earned P2 there. Now, moving forward, unfortunately, it's going to be a handful of races that aren't going to suit us. Still only 36% with the recognition. Although, crucially, and I can't remember if I mentioned this on the intro, I don't think I did, it's been made aware that, yes, our teammate can do the question mark upgrades. Even if my recognition isn't high enough, my teammate can still do the upgrades that are entirely unavailable to me. So the car will definitely continue to improve here at Ferrari for the rest of the season. Turbo reliability testing has gone up. I'm beating Lance Stroll in my driver rating rivalry. We have... Oh, hello, Aston Martin have significantly improved their car. We have enough resource points to whack on something on the aerodynamic side. Drag reduction system, thank you very much. 0% chance of failure, you love to see it. I don't have enough points, nor can we do multiple upgrades on any department. We now have the 7th best aerodynamic package. We're slightly ahead of RB again. Is that going to be done for... it's not quite going to be done for Zandvoort, but it will be done for Monza. Monza's a power track. That will be very much one where hopefully we will do well at as well. That's going to be done for Monza as well, unfortunately. Anything in here I could do still? 90 for the electrical systems. That'll absolutely get done. Department capacity reached there as well. And it's time for the season break. But
Okay, mate, I'm pleased to
very,
say that
very
our
comfortable at the moment now.
without
Hopefully
any
these things will
issues, so we're
pass.
on
They
the
should
car,
do.
ready for the next race.
The Dutch Grand Prix is very much aerodynamic focused, so I'm expecting more of a struggle here as we found in Hungary. Red Bull have now eclipsed us on the performance index as well, although we're about to head to the Netherlands to find out exactly what the weather's going to do at Zandvoort. Obviously, we'll put the more worn parts in. Going to have to take a new energy store before the end of the season. Going to have to take a new control electronics as well before the end of the season. But we'll go to the next race weekend and we'll see what the weather's going to do, because as you saw from the real life race at the Netherlands last year in 2023, it is interchangeable at the seaside, and it will be interchangeable at the seaside. We will start the race with almost certainly the full wet weather tyre and end the race in the dry. Every session until the Grand Prix will be dry, but the race will start in the pouring rain. Haas and Aston Martin have gone further away from us. McLaren are right with us. Red Bull have come basically up to the McLaren and ourselves at the moment. So progression is still being made. More progression will be made before Spa. I'm a point behind Carlos Sainz in the Drivers' Championship now. I'd like to think I'll be ahead of Carlos Sainz by the end of this next round of the Championship. We are only 9 points and 12 points. 9 points and 11 points. Maths, can you do it? Behind McLaren and Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull are a long way away. Apologies for my apparent brain meltdown there. Charles Leclerc DNFs, which probably ruins any chance he had of closing in on Max Verstappen. He would have gotten another 25 points surely for a victory in Belgium and been on 223. Very much within touching distance with that amount of the season to go, as his performances have been much better than the Red Bull recently. Fernando Alonso closes in and is now level with Charles in the championship as well. Lando, a podium finish in each of the last 5 Grand Prix for that McLaren, as that is definitely getting better as a package, as is ours, as is everybody else's at the moment. Join me in the next episode for the Belgian Grand Prix. It will more than likely be fully wet to inters to mediums or softs at the end of that Dutch Grand Prix, but really pleased with the P2, thrilled with the way that the weekend went. Disappointed for Charles' side of the garage, but we benefited from it, so we'll just have to take that and be happy with it, and we certainly are. Join me at the seaside for Zandvoort next time round. I'll see you later.